Now, when I usually cover disturbing videos, I like to do them in bulk, so I can get everything out I've played in one go, you know? But this one is so dark and disturbing with the material in this game that it had to get its own video. And if you think I'm being over dramatic, here's the game telling you already what this game is about. And what makes this game so dark to me, it's so disturbing for the simple fact that it's real. And with that, let's get into No Means Nothing. Now, after I got the warning and the melodramatic intro out the way, today we'll be talking about the game, as mentioned, No Means Nothing. A lot can be said for this game, but I think the best way to break it down is we're going to do this in two parts. One part of the video is going to be strictly the gameplay, because that plays a big part of the narrative as well, because the game physically makes you uncomfortable, and the actual narrative and themes will be break down later in the second half. So let's get down to gameplay. When you start the game, you're confronted by, I guess your mom, we'll call it that, some big, gargantuan, Jabba the Hutt looking slug. And I'm sorry if that's too mean, because I should make this clear right now. This is based on the developer's experience, so I don't like talking ill about people's parents, but hey, you animated your mom looking like this and she don't seem that nice, so I'm just gonna keep it a buck with you. But I'll try to keep it somewhat tame for your mom. But the other guy coming up, nah, he can get it. Your mom is not the best person in the game, and she tells you straight up, hey, you have 5 fucking days to get out of my house. Context for later will be brought up, but for whatever reason, she does not want you here no more. She's tired of you mooching and leeching and etc, etc. All the same toxic rhetoric you hear from being threatened to kick out. And our protagonist here, he just says, fine, I'll find a job to get enough money so he won't be homeless by the end of the week. You have to make $1,000 in 5 days. And when you get kicked out of your mom's house for that day, you overhear a phone call in the hallway. You answer the phone, and it's your friend, quotations here, your friend, Radic, saying, hey man, how you been? Finally answer my calls. And you explain to him, hey, look, I just got kicked out. I need a place to stay. I don't know what to do. He's like, bro, come work at my job. I can get you on. And that's basically the summary of how we get in this mess to begin with said friend. So with no other options, you take the job and you start working there. Now the actual game starts on day one, where Radic breaks it down to you, where he's gonna pass you a box, you're gonna fill it up and read the serial codes and fill up the box and give it back to Radic, and you repeat that for, I think in real time, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. The game's very short. Whereas in universe, it's an 8-hour shift. Technically a 10-hour shift, but you can leave early. So you have a 10-minute timer for the game, so you know whether or not to hurry up or do it or not. And while you're doing it, the first day is whatever. Radic says some questionable things. He just looks gross. So like, let's take a minute and just look at Radic for a second. Let's really look at this thing. 1, he's taller than you. That's kind of important. 2, he's just gross. 3, he's fucking weird. I don't like him. He already says inappropriate shit already as is when on your first day there. And worst of all, when you explain your situation to him, you have 3 options. You can tell him about your mom, tell him about you dropped out of uni, which is why your mom don't want you there, because I guess if you were in university you can stay there, but you're not in college anymore, so basically you're bummed to her. Not my words, just fill in the blanks. So when you explain that to Radic, he goes, oh man, that sucks, but you're not a good person either because you abandoned the old friend group, which Radic keeps holding on to the old friend group a lot. He likes bringing up that you guys used to be real tight back in the day. But from our protagonist, or I guess rather the game dev point of view, is like, it was a very toxic friend group. They made each other drink all the time and do stupid shit. And they did something really stupid that we're gonna learn in night 3 of this game. But right now, just know that these two already had a strained past, and for the right reasons, the dev decided to leave that shit in the past, as he should. Now, this is very important because I did not mention this yet, and it's the first instance where it matters. You can say certain things that increase your stamina, your willpower, your anger, and I believe Radic's terms of how much you like him. And there's a secret bar for submissiveness too. I don't know if it's secret or I just never actively click it because, I don't like that guy. Now, depending on if you piss Radic off too much, he can dock your pay, because every time if you do everything perfectly and you get all the boxes, you put it back in there right, you get 200 max a day, and you need to make 1,000 at the end of the week. So if you piss off Radic too much or say the wrong things, he can dock your pay. Or if you do a bad job, you won't make the full amount of 200. So there's also extra layers, like you have to deal with his bullshit in order to survive. Now, I'm sure a lot of us out there can deal with that. Maybe not in this extremes, but a lot of us has to bite our lip or do stuff we don't like just to make ends meet, and some people know that and they get off on that. As for, let's go to day 2 of the gameplay after leaving. Day 2 is different. Instead of taking stuff off the shelf and giving it to Raditz, today we're gonna be stocking the shelves from the back. So he tells you go to the back, and you have to grab, I think it's 3 boxes in day 2, and you take out each individual box and put them back on the shelf. That's easy. And that's important that it's easy, because the difficult part is you have to sit there and listen to this human cockroach make gross remarks about you 24/7. One remark, he brings up the past again after you made it very clear that you do not like to talk about that. 2, he keeps throwing out hints saying like, oh man, you have a nice ass, don't you? Real tight and juicy. I'm like, bro, sure. And he's joked like this before. That's why the developer didn't think none of it, because he was always the weird friend, which, I'm gonna go more into detail about this, but if you have a friend who says shit like that after you made it very clear that you do not like that, please drop kick them off a cliff. Okay, that's murder. We at Ramen Milk do not condone murder. Please walk away. That's the right answer. Please walk away. Just set your boundaries. If they don't like it, dip. And that's important. Remember that advice. And he says one more thing in case you didn't know where this game is going by the title No Means Nothing. He finally asks you, hey, do you have a girlfriend by any way? You can tell him, nah, I'm solo right now. He then replies, yeah, I don't like none of your girlfriends anyway. They are all kind of lame. Do you remember Anya? Now, I'm sure a lot of my mouthwashing fans just freaked the hell out hearing that. Because what do you mean, Anya? I'm sure that was a coincidence. Maybe he knew an Anya in real life, but just the idea that this game goes where you think it's gonna go, and then they name drop a character who in the last year is very well known for what that has happened to her. She's not just the character, but it's a similarity. It's like, oh, I don't like that. That made me very uncomfortable when he said her name. Like, I don't need 2 shitty assholes in 2 packing delivery jobs. I don't need that back to back. So after you finish day 2 of packing, Raditz says, I got one more box for you, take it to the chill zone. Now this is where the other section of the game kind of kicks in, where it becomes an actual, it's an anti-dating sim game, but it's where the dating sim part goes on, where you go on dates with Raditz. He says, hey, take this last box to the chill zone. You take it to chill zone, and Raditz can teleport apparently, which the game explains it that I'm so in our own head that he walked past us and we just didn't notice him going back and forth. Now Raditz's big surprise to the chill zone was surprise alcohol. And our dev here has made it very clear to Raditz he doesn't like to drink at all, not one bit, and he keeps pressuring you to drink after you made it very clear that you don't. Now there's a lot of ways to go about it on this first date. The first date is you can actually drink it just so he can shut up, but that I don't recommend that. The second time is you make a hard no. The third one is you make it very clear and you set a boundary saying I do not drink anymore, tough titty. I don't swing like that. I'm good. Now, depending on how you say that last one, you get your pay docked. You can still tell him no and not get your pay docked. So keep that in mind if you want to try this game out, which I highly recommend. This game is so fun. Now, after that date, which is really just him cornering you in the literal back of the building, you can ask him a couple questions. It's like, hey man, what's been going on with you? He's like, thanks for the job. I really appreciate this. He's like, yeah, man, no problem. And then you ask him what's in the boxes and he's like, don't ask me that. I don't worry about it. I don't question it. And then the real kicker is like, how did you get this job? He's like, oh, this is my uncle's building. Raditz's uncle owns this building. It's his job. It's just you and Raditz alone in a warehouse, essentially, or I wouldn't say a warehouse, more like a really big storage unit, we'll call it. Just me and Raditz. Alone for 10 hours a day, just the 2 of you. Now, when you get ready to leave, he gets pissy and he starts to drink more, and that's important because on the third day, this is when it reminds you, hey, this is still technically a horror game. Third night, Raditz, I guess, had too much to drink, and he took a crowbar and he blew up the fuse that cut the power to the whole building. By cutting the whole power to the building, it's pitch black and he left you a flashlight and you have to do your job like from the first night where you have to pack stuff. But Raditz, drunk, knocked the shells over so it's harder to find. The music's eerie because you're feeling uncomfortable. You're feeling enclosed. It's very claustrophobic. And Raditz is drunk and not thinking straight. So you're in the dark with a drunk man who is very uncomfortable with you. Just being fucking weird, dude. Back up, bro. You all in my face right now. Now, I will say, just to ease the worry, if you're like, oh my god, does that happen during the gameplay? No, it does not happen. If you need a small spoiler warning on that aspect, he doesn't just do that in the works part. When you get halfway through the restocking part, you will hear aisles being knocked over because his drunk ass is lumbering around knocking shit over. And then getting closer to the end, he'll just teleport in the middle of the aisles where you have to go, and he says more remarks. He says, hey man, remember we used to do push-ups in my grandma's house and this, that, and the third? You have a fat ass, by the way. And he's like, bro, what? Like, he's just constantly, and then he's gonna say it later, he's been keep dropping hints that he's checking you out 24/7. At the end of the third shift, which is the final shift because it's the last day you have, because I know I mentioned you have 5 days to get out, you actually have 3. But at the end of the third shift, when you finally get to Radek for the last time, he says, all right, meet me back in the chill zone. I have a surprise for you. You go back, and the guy has a literal candlelight, I would say dinner, but it's just candlelight drinking and everything. And you're like, okay, dude, whatever. So he's talking about like, hey man, which drink? Come on, bro, let's drink. And our developer had enough of it. He's like, I don't fucking drink. Stop it. I don't like it. My body doesn't like it. I don't like how I get. Please stop trying to make me drink. And then Radek basically puts you against the wall one last time, metaphorically, saying either you drink or we're done. I don't care. And so by doing so, when he does that, you can either give in and have 1 beer so he doesn't, dock your pay, or you stand your ground one last time. I always recommend standing your ground. Please do that. So by standing your ground, he's like, all right, fine, whatever. I have something to tell you anyway. And now you guys get personal with each other. Radek opens up, say like, hey, I'm not the ladies' man like I used to be back in the day. I'm kind of exploring my options. And you go, okay. And he's like, yeah, I have a boyfriend now. Now there's 3 options. Now, even though I don't like Radek, right? And despite me getting all the other endings, I personally don't like making fun of somebody for coming out, because he is being genuine here when he's being vulnerable, saying, hey, he likes dudes now. And it's like, okay, cool. You can joke your way out of it. Don't do that. You can be supportive, or then you set a boundary with him where it's like, all right, that's cool and I'm happy, but we're friends. I hope you know that. And to get certain options like that last one I just mentioned where you set a boundary, you need a high enough willpower. You need to do your answers dictate your stats throughout the game. So when you get an option is grayed out, it means you didn't meet those requirements. You play this game for yourself. Try to always pick the same answer that leads to the same stat being increased. So if you say something and you made yourself angry, guess what you're doing all game, buddy? You're pissing yourself off. You did something that's all willpower, great. You're doing something that's all submissive, I got bad news for you. Because it's really hard to min-max in this type of game. And but you always want to have at least a couple stamina for sure. Now, after he confesses, he will then go, so what now? What are you gonna do at the end of this week? Because normally, I haven't found a way to done it yet. You never have enough money to actually just live on your own. So you have to say, well, I guess I'm homeless. That's when Radek will open his mouth and say, oh, crash was me. My parents helped me get this apartment. You can just stay with me until you get back on your feet. And was nowhere else to go, so he thought. The developer believed it and just took the bait. He went along with Radek. So when the end of the third shift happens, he would walk out into Radek's apartment. This one will be a trigger warning since we're gonna go back to it when it comes to the story section of it. So in Radek's apartment, Radek wastes no time to be on bullshit. First thing, you're on his couch and he's decided to sit hip to hip next to you on a big ass couch. Mind you, Radek is still drunk because there's beer cans everywhere. He's an alcoholic if you haven't picked up on that by now. So he asks you, so you want to listen to music, watch a movie, and then straight to the point, or we can do something spicier. You can take that as you will. If you go, okay, what's the spicy options? Like, oh, I don't know, you got a favorite porn star. So after that happens, he keeps pressuring you, and then he straight up shows you porn on his laptop, like pictures of women's, what do I say for YouTube? Pictures of ladies' parts, there you go. And you're like, I don't want to see this. And even if you keep telling him no, he shows you like 4 different pictures, slideshow. I'm like, I don't want to see this. I don't care. And he's like, wow, you're pretty tense. You want a massage? It's like, bro, get out my ears. I'm not trying to hear that. And you tell him, bro, fuck off. And that's where he snaps. He's like, you're such a crybaby. You've been teasing me and leading me on. You know, you just pretend to be innocent. I know what you really want. And you're like, which which is assault language 101. That is, if you ever hear those string of words from anybody, you run the opposite fucking direction and call the police right then and there, because that is mega red flag. I don't like this guy, bro. I really don't like this guy. And when he finally had enough of you teasing him, quote unquote, whereas you being fucking normal telling him no, you get into the tussle on the couch and he falls over drunk. And this is where your choices matter at this point, because you get two different really three different endings. If you have a high enough willpower, you would tell him, no, you sober the fuck up, let me leave. I'm done with this shit, you're fucking weird. If you really cared about me as a friend, you would get better. Then Radrick would say, I'm sorry. It's like, if you're sorry, prove it to yourself first. And then you walk out that door and you leave and you got the ideal ending. It's not even called a good ending, it's called ideal, which is in itself kind of fucked, that the good ending is like, oh, it's not a good ending because you're still in a shitty situation. Now, if you have high enough anger, this one's still bad legally. Legally, this is the bad ending, and I don't condone this as mentioned, but if you're angry enough, you just beat the fuck out of Radrick until he dies. You just straight mink his shit till he's gone. Which, again, legally, we don't condone that. Murder is murder, regardless of the situation, even if it's technically self-defense. You lose your temper, which is why he doesn't like to drink, and you beat the shit out of Radrick, and he dies. Or at least is severely damaged after the point. Now, I deliberately told you the bad ending first, or the angry ending first, rather, because when you hear the bad ending, you're gonna like, oh, I don't care that he got beat to death. So if you have nothing enough, you just say, hey, I'm gonna go in the bathroom, you chill out. Radrick would still get mad, and by getting so mad, he starts banging on the door. You can lock the door and wait for him to cool out, quote unquote wait, or you don't lock the door and he attacks you, and you get the bad ending. And the bad ending is what you think it is. He sexually assaults our developer here, and he has to live like that for weeks on end. And the monologue is depressing because it's just him saying, I felt weak and small. I shrank into the space he allowed me to live in. He just did what he wanted to do. I hated this. I hate living. And he even says, which is important when I said he felt like he had no choice, he thought going with Radrick at the end was the right decision because it's better than sleeping on a park. It's no. Always pick yourself first. Always. If you gotta be homeless for a while, instead of living with a creep, please pick the bench over the creep. Always. And that's the bad ending. Now, the elaborate bad ending that leads to the somewhat decent ending is you can lock the door, you wait it out, and then you can open the bathroom door and then he'll chase you in his own house. And when he chases you in your own house, you have to find the exit. If you don't find the exit in time, or he grabs you, or you don't open the door because you have to bang on a couple times, he grabs you and then you get the same repeated as mentioned bad ending I just said, where you get assaulted. Now, if you do escape, you get the ending where you go back home, you make a plan with your mom, and then you move back out on your own terms. And that's the okay-ish ending. And that is no means nothing, the gameplay of it. Now, before I start the story and lore aspects of this game, I just want to make it very clear. I, for one, want everybody to know, whoever went through this, going through this, or think they might go through this in the future coming, you always have a choice. Never feel bad for saying no, ever. No means no. That's what it means. It don't means nothing. It means no. No means no. That goes for man and woman. And the reason why I say man and woman, because I deliberately did not mention this. This is a guy we're playing as. I know you kind of picked up on that when I said he's gay and he came on to you, but in case you didn't get it, this is another man. Men don't speak up a lot when this happens to them. I've known friends where this happened to them as another man, and I'm just leave it at that. And it's depressing. So for a game for a man to be vulnerable enough to come out and tell you his story, always feel like you have a choice. Always. Never feel like you're less than a man or less than a person because that happened to you, because you're not. It's not your fault that this fucking freakazoid can't keep his goddamn hands to himself. This fucking ugly fucking roach. Oh my God, I'm about to cook Radrick for a few seconds. Just give me a minute. I can't stand this ugly fuck. Mind you, you guys are barely out of high school in this game. He's like 22. If I look like I had 22, I would just fuss. I'm so sorry if that's not PC. I'm going dark woke. I would fuss. Bro, if I look like Radrick. That dude is fucking hideous, and you have the gall to act like the way you do. And then and again, I'm about to go on a tangent. And the other ending I just mentioned, right? The you stand your ground, set a boundary, you walk out the door and leave. Yeah, he starts boohoo and cries like, I'm sorry, bro. Please, bro, I didn't mean it. Fuck you. I hate people like that. When you finally stood up for yourself and now it's like, oh no, I didn't mean it. No, yes, you fucking did. Because other games just, the ending snitched on your true intentions. So when an abuser tells you they're sorry, they don't mean it. They never mean it. Fuck that guy. Ugh. On to the lore section. This section was going to be short, but effective. The lore and the overall message of this game is simple. This is a man who felt vulnerable enough to tell you the stories, and what he experienced was a so-called friend he thought he had at the time. And the message I would take away from this, and you should too, is you always have a choice. Never feel little or small for setting a boundary. If people can't respect that, you leave them the hell alone and you cut them off. You do not give nobody second chances like this. You do not respect people like that if they don't respect you. Like even Radek himself would say, respect is a two-way street. The irony of him saying that when he never respected you. He's always made you feel weird and uncomfortable. Please remember to set boundaries and do what's best for you. It will get better. I know that sounds easier said than done, but hey man, just your safety is all that's important. And on that note, thank you for stopping by. To the dev, if you ever see this, I'm sorry you went through that. To those who went through this constantly or concurrently, I hope your situation get better. I don't snitch, I have a big backyard. If you need to hide a body, you didn't hear that from me. You have a nice day. Peace.